Welcome to the Bakken MDC 3D printing tutorial. Here are some items to keep in mind while printing. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask. Here, no question is a bad one. Also, be sure to refrain from touching the nozzle and the bed when hot. Finally, if anything looks incorrect during your print, cancel it and immediately find a supervisor. Before we begin the process of 3D printing, let's go over the anatomy of two printers that we'll have access to in the MDC. The first is the CR10, which is located along the back wall of the electrical lab. Here you'll see the filament spool, the SD card slot, the control unit, the base, and the nozzle. The Monoprice Mini is pretty similar, just on a smaller level. You'll see the filament spool, the nozzle, the base, and the control unit. To start preparing your print, you'll want an STL file, which you can either pull off of Google or create using SolidWorks. We're going to upload that file into Cura, which is available on all the computers in the MDC. You'll start by going to Settings, Printer, and select a printer that works best for the size of the print you're doing. In general, smaller parts are best for the Monoprice Mini and larger for the CR10. Now, you'll just drag and drop your STL file into Cura. Once you select your part, you can resize it, rotate it, move it, etc. Make sure you have the largest surface of your part against the bed for a faster print. In the MDC, most of the printing settings will be preset, but ensure your printing material is set to PLA. The nozzle temp is 220, the bed temp is 55 to 65, the filament size is 1.75 millimeters, and the layer height is between 0.08 and 20 millimeters. A lower layer height will produce a higher resolution. The infill can also be changed. A smaller infill will result in a faster print, and a denser infill will result in a sturdier print. You may also add supports depending on how tall your object is, and a build plate adhesion for easier removal. Once you have your part ready, insert a USB drive with an SD card into your computer. Prepare your print and click Save to Removable Drive. You may now eject your print. One tip to ensure the SD card is empty before putting your part in, so it's easier to find when printing. Now that your print's prepared, you'll need to calibrate the bed. To start, Main, Prepare, and Auto Home. Turn off the control center and move the nozzle to the corner of the bed. Now, use a standard sheet of paper and pass it between the nozzle and the bed. The paper should be able to move, but there should be a fair amount of friction between it and the nozzle. If the paper is not sliding correctly, adjust the springs below the bed until proper friction between the paper, bed, and nozzle is achieved. Repeat this step with each corner of the bed. You may also need to change the filament before printing. It's helpful to heat the nozzle beforehand. Now you'll compress the spring at the top of the printer and pull until the filament is removed from the tube. To place new filament in, compress the spring again and slide the filament through the tube until filament can be pressed out of the nozzle. This step can be tricky, so ask if anything seems to go wrong. To clean the bed, lightly rub it with sandpaper and remove any dried filament. After, rub the bed with isopropyl alcohol that's been placed onto a paper towel. You're now ready to actually begin your print. First, place your SD card into the SD card slot. To print with a CR10, select Print from SD and choose your file name. For Monoprice, select Print and choose your file. Be sure to watch the first layer print. During your print, it's possible you'll run into several problems. If you leveled the bed and the print still isn't sticking, try increasing the bed temp slightly. If the filament isn't coming out of the nozzle, compress the spring at the top and try to push it through the nozzle in order to clear up clumps. If neither of these fix the issue or you're experiencing other issues, cancel the print and ask a lab supervisor. To remove your print, use a spatula and slide it underneath your piece. You may now remove any adhesions or supports. That's all there is to it. Have fun printing!